Hey, what's going on, guys? Serrano here, and in today's video we're going to be comparing the Xiaomi Redmi Note 9 Pro against the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 Pro. Now the Xiaomi Redmi Note 9 Pro is a lot bigger at 6.6 inches compared to 6.53 inches, and the panels are similar, but the 9 Pro is 1080 2400 versus 1080 2340. So there are some improvements and I want to point those out, and there are a little bit of differences. However, we're getting some really competent mid-range budget devices, and a lot of people have asked me if you should upgrade from the Redmi Note 8 Pro to the Redmi 9 Pro. So if this sounds like something that interests you, make sure you join the crew and let's begin the comparison. So one of the things you want to note is that the Redmi Note 8 Pro came out in August 2019, making it just about a year old in this exact day. So it's a year old because it was announced today last year. Now the Redmi Note 9 Pro was released in April 2020 and came out in May. Now they both feature Gorilla Glass 5 on the back and the front with a plastic frame around both of them, and they both offer the hybrid dual SIM, which is kind of cool. So you can put 2 SIM cards and a SD card as well. Now, one of the other things to note is that the Redmi Note 8 Pro does have the MIUI 12, whereas my Redmi Note 9 Pro only has the MIUI 11, but they're both running on Android 10. Now, what does this mean? It simply means that you will get a newer, more optimized interface on the Redmi Note 8 Pro, but I do like that it does have the Google feed on the Redmi Note 9 Pro. So you still don't get the Google feed on the left. With the Redmi Note 8 Pro, they give you the Xiaomi home option. But both screen panels do look very similar. On the Redmi Note 9 Pro, we're actually getting a really good processing chip. It's a Snapdragon 720G, an 8nm processing chip. And then when you compare it to the Redmi Note 8 Pro, we're getting the Helio G90T, a 12nm processing chip. They both can play Fortnite, Call of Duty, PUBG, 2K. All the games that you see on the Play Store, they're pretty much able to play, because they both feature 6 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of internal storage, which is similar with both of these devices. They do have IR blasters at the top to control your electronics. Now the camera configurations are pretty similar, almost identical except for the macro. We're getting a 5 megapixel camera on the 9 versus the 8. We're only getting a 2 macro, but you do get the 64 megapixel, the 8 megapixel ultra wide, the 64 megapixel main on both, and the 2 megapixel depth on both. Now the cameras are pretty cool, but one of the things about the Redmi Note 9 Pro is that it can record video in it can record in video in Pro mode, whereas the Redmi Note 8 Pro doesn't have the option to record video in Pro mode, but you can take pictures in Pro mode on the Redmi Note 8 Pro. But both of the photos and videos are really stable. They have electronic image stabilization on both of these devices, and that's one of the things that's really good. Now it seems like they have the exact same pixels per inch, 395 pixels per inch on both, and both of these devices do run really smooth, really snappy, and they're actually really good for gaming, taking photos as well. So on the front facing camera on the Redmi Note 9 Pro, you are getting a 16 megapixel camera, which is going to be pretty cool. It does have the option to record in full HD, and you also do get on the front facing camera of the Redmi Note 8 Pro, you get a 20 megapixel. So they actually gave it a higher megapixel count, but we're gonna compare them and see if there's any difference between them for the most part. But honestly, I didn't really get to compare them at this time, but once I get more time with the Redmi Note 9 Pro, then I can determine the comparison video and put that out, but let me know down below if that would be something that's interesting to you. Now, the charging is a lot faster on the Redmi Note 9 Pro. We're actually getting 30 watts charging versus on the Redmi Note 8 Pro we're only getting the 18 watts. But these devices come in a few different colors. Now, the Redmi Note 9 Pro comes in the green, white, and gray, the tropical green, glacier white, and interstellar gray, whereas the Redmi Note 8 Pro came in a ton more colors. It had the red, the black, the blue, the white, the deep sea blue, orange. It was just a ton of colors that the Redmi Note 8 Pro came in, but it's actually cool that they give you so many different options. And when it comes to gaming, both devices ran really clean. You were able to get some really high graphics, and you could put it up to pretty much the second to last highest graphics on the Redmi Note 8 Pro. So pretty much it ran just like similar to how you would see on a higher end device as far as the frame rates, when you put those frame rates really high. So I did think that was pretty cool. But when it did come to the battery, we were getting a bigger battery on the Redmi Note 9 Pro versus the Redmi Note 8 Pro. It was a 5020 milliamp hour battery versus the 4500 milliamp hour battery. So you were getting a battery increase as well. So as far as the prices, they're pretty similar. The Redmi Note 8 Pro is around $200 at this time, and the Redmi Note 9 Pro is around $220. So pretty similar price points. But if you just wanted to know some of the differences, these are the differences. And they're pretty much gonna also record in 4K as well, but just keep in mind you get pro mode on video with the Redmi Note 9 Pro, and also just a really clean performance. I do really like these cameras on both of these devices. They're just like some of the cleanest cameras when it comes to like video at this price. A $200 phone. This is probably one of the best $200 phones out right now. In this price point, like a brand new phone that you can actually get out the box with upgraded software on Android 10 and getting all the updates, if that's something that's important to you. But they both do give you the option for SIM card and SD card slots, so you can expand the storage and you can increase the storage on both of these devices as well. So you do get that option for a dedicated SD card slot to increase the storage as well. Now, the screen panels are both pretty bright. They do look really good. They're IPS LCD capacitive touch screens. They're Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and back, so pretty decent protection. They won't scratch easy, and they're very durable as well. And you're gonna get some really good price to performance value ratio when it comes to these smartphones. That's why I always recommend these devices when people ask me like what devices they should check out. Redmi devices do have the Play Store, so they're unlocked globally, so you could use them anywhere in the world. And just you could switch out the SIM card and everything like that, and they're really affordable and offer great quality. And the only thing that I could really say that they skimmed out on is that they have the plastic frame, but that doesn't really matter to me because the weight on the device is really nice. But it doesn't have wireless charging on either one of these devices, so if that was a problem for you, just keep in mind it doesn't have wireless charging or anything like that. But there's no waterproof rating on these devices as well, so if that was something that would sway you out of buying them, just keep that in mind too. But it does also offer NFC screencast, so you could do mobile payments. You could cash your phone to your TV. Now, as far as some of the features on these devices, if you wanted to look in here, you can get actual hotspot, which is pretty cool. And you definitely can use these devices for that hotspot option if you just wanted to get that done. But tell me down below which one you would actually purchase if you had the money, or if you were looking at one of these devices. But I definitely think both of them are really good, but just the overall battery is going to be a lot larger on the Redmi Note 9 Pro, and you're going to get that bigger battery, a slight bump in pixels on the screen, also a camera arrangement which is kind of different, a bigger display as well, and pretty much faster charging. However, the performance other than that will be pretty much similar. But let me know down below in the comment section if you have a Redmi Note 8, 9 or 8. Let me know. Pro, and I'll see you guys later. But in the meantime, have a great morning, afternoon, evening, and depending where you are.